You've been waiting to feel ready for years now. That moment where the fear quiets down, the doubt clears, and some warm wave of certainty tells you it's time to start the thing. You keep treating that feeling like a green light you're owed. It's never coming, and the sooner you understand why, the sooner you stop bleeding years. Here's what nobody selling you a morning routine wants to admit. Motivation is a mood, and you've handed the most important decisions of your life to a mood. Think about the last project you actually shipped. The video you posted, the code you pushed, the workout you finished, the cold email you sent. Walk back to the exact minute before you did it. Were you fired up? Or were you slightly annoyed, a little tired, half convinced it wouldn't matter? Be honest, you did it anyway. The feeling showed up later, if it showed up at all. Usually it arrived after the work, dressed up as pride, pretending it had been there the whole time. That's the con. Motivation joins things once they're already moving. You've been waiting at the station for a train that only ever leaves after you've started walking. So who profits from you believing otherwise? Follow the money. An entire industry needs you to believe readiness is a feeling you can buy. The course that promises to finally light a fire under you. The supplement stack. The 5 a.m. routine influencer with abs and a ring light. They're selling you permission. And permission is the most expensive thing in the world, precisely because it's free. And you keep refusing to give it to yourself. Watch what happens when you outsource the start signal to your feelings. You wake up, you check how you feel, and your body files a report. Tired, anxious, uninspired. So you wait. You'll start the channel when you feel confident. You'll launch the business when you feel sure. You'll train when you feel energized. And every one of those feelings is downstream of action you haven't taken yet. You're asking the harvest to show up before you've planted. There's a name for the gap between knowing this and living it. It's the quiet hum of a life spent in the waiting room. Let me show you the version of you that escapes it, because she already exists in flashes. There's a discipline most people misread as motivation, and the difference between them is the whole game. Motivation asks how you feel. Discipline asks what time it is. That's it. That's the entire upgrade. The person you envy, the one quietly building the thing you keep planning, is just as inspired as you on a good day and just as flat as you on a bad one. Their inputs and yours are identical. Same doubt, same boredom, same Tuesday, where it all feels pointless. They simply stopped consulting the mood before doing the work. They demoted the feeling from director to passenger. A friend of mine wanted to learn to edit video. For 2 years, she watched tutorials, bought the gear, and waited to feel like a creator. Then she made one rule. She'd open the editing software for 10 minutes a day, whether she felt like it or not, and she was allowed to make garbage. Most days, she felt nothing. The garbage piled up. 11 months later, she was getting paid for client work. The feeling of being a creator arrived around month 4, long after the behavior did. So copy the mechanism, not the mood. A visible streak helps, one that resets to 0 when you skip. I track mine in Hone. It awards XP per completed habit, link in the description. And the streak matters less than what it represents. You building on the days you don't feel like it. Because those are the only days that actually separate you from everyone with the same dream and a fuller excuse folder. Now you might be thinking, fine, but some days I genuinely have nothing in the tank. Burnout is real. Grinding through everything is how people break. And you're right. That's the strongest version of the argument against me. So let's take it seriously instead of pretending willpower is infinite. Here's the distinction that matters. There's a difference between an empty tank and a cold engine. A cold engine feels exactly like emptiness, but it turns over the second you start moving. Empty is rare. It's the result of weeks of real overextension, poor sleep, grief, illness. You know the difference in your body if you're honest. Most days, you call yourself empty. You're actually just cold. And a cold engine needs 5 minutes of friction. That's your real tool, a floor. Shrink the task until starting it is almost stupid to refuse. Instead of write the script, open the document and write one ugly sentence. Instead of do the workout, put on the shoes and stand outside. The point is that you've broken the spell where starting requires a ceremony. Action has its own momentum, and momentum manufactures the exact feeling you were waiting for. You generate it by moving. You were trying to buy it wholesale, and it was never for sale. There's a quieter cost to the waiting game, and it's the one nobody warns you about. Every day you postpone, you're not staying neutral. You're rehearsing. Each morning, you check the mood and decide today isn't the day. You're practicing the skill of not starting. And you're getting genuinely excellent at it. Hesitation is a muscle too. Most people who feel stuck aren't lazy. They've trained for years with brutal consistency at the precise art of almost beginning. The good news is the same mechanism runs in reverse. Start badly enough times, and starting becomes the reflex. The body keeps whatever score you make it practice. And this reframes the whole question you keep asking. You keep wondering how to get motivated. Wrong question. The useful one is smaller and meaner. What's the least I can do right now that still counts? Answer that every day and motivation becomes irrelevant. A luxury you're glad to have when it visits and free to ignore when it doesn't. Notice what this does to fear. You've been treating fear as a stop sign. The professional treats it as a compass. The thing that scares you, the post you're afraid to publish, the price you're afraid to charge, the message you're afraid to send, that fear is just your mind flagging something that matters. Boredom guards the comfortable. Fear guards the meaningful. When you wait to feel unafraid, you're waiting to stop caring. And then you wonder why everything you finally do feels gray. Let's get specific about your life, because this is where it bites. You want to build something that's yours. A body of work, an audience, a skill stack, a business, a self you actually respect. All of it gets built in, unglamorous reps stacked on days you'd rather scroll. The person with 10,000 subscribers and the person with 0 often started the same week. One of them kept showing up to an empty room and talking to nobody for months. The empty room is the price. Motivation will never get you through the empty room, because the empty room is specifically designed to give you no applause, no feeling, no reason to continue, except the one you decided on in advance. And the empty room is rigged against feeling on purpose. The early reps of anything worth building are the least rewarding ones. You're worst at it, the results are smallest, and nobody's watching. If you need the feeling to keep going, you quit exactly there, in the dip, right before the part where it starts paying you back. Everyone who's ahead of you simply walked through that dip on a fuel that doesn't run dry. A decision. That's the whole secret. And it's almost boring how plain it is. So decide in advance. That's the move motivated people can't make, because their fuel runs out the moment the feeling does. You're going to bind your future self to a decision your present self makes while clear-headed. Instead of, I'll train when I feel like it, it becomes 3 sessions a week. These days, this time, feeling's not invited to the meeting. You stopped negotiating with yourself every morning. You negotiated once. The contract's already signed. And watch how identity quietly flips. For years, you've been calling yourself not a disciplined person, like it's a fixed trait you were born without. It's a track record. Every time you act against the mood, you file a piece of evidence that you're someone who does the thing regardless. Stack enough evidence and the self-image updates on its own. You stop needing motivation to act, because acting has become who you are. The behavior comes first. The identity is the receipt. There's a strange freedom on the other side of this that I didn't expect. When you stop requiring yourself to feel ready, the day you feel like trash stops being a day off. It becomes just another day you do the work, slightly slower, and the work doesn't know the difference. You've quietly become weatherproof. Your output stops swinging with your moods because you unhooked the two things that were never supposed to be connected. Be honest about what waiting has already cost you. Count the projects that died in the planning stage. The skill you'd be 3 years into by now. The audience that could already exist. All of them died in the gap between feeling ready and being willing to start unready. That gap is where most lives quietly happen and then quietly don't. You act, and readiness trails behind you like a shadow, only visible once you've already walked past where you were standing. The people building the lives you want made peace with starting cold, and that peace is the closest thing to a superpower you'll ever actually get. So here's what I want from you, and it's almost insultingly small. Pick the thing. The one you've been preloading with conditions. The one that needs you to feel a certain way first. Today, while you still feel exactly as unready as you do right now, do the smallest undeniable version of it. One sentence, one set, one email, one commit. Do it badly, do it scared, do it tired. Because the life that's actually yours gets built by someone who stopped waiting to be moved and decided to move first. That person has your name. Go answer to it.